Hi everybody, foXnoMad here, and today I want to help you travel smarter. So welcome to Islamabad, Pakistan. It's pretty early in the morning, but it is already very hot. It's a summer day, but I wanted to start here in this small park, just with the mountains and the hills overlooking me. And today I want to help you travel smarter by explaining why burgers are just so popular in this country, and give you a tour of its capital city, Islamabad. Now it's 9-10 a.m., which is pretty early for this city because things seem to get a very late start. Everything is pretty much closed. The only things that are really open are banks and maybe a couple of cafes, but as you can see, there aren't a lot of people in this park. But as the day goes on, it's going to get more and more crowded. I'd say firmly after 12, that's when the restaurants and food places also start opening up. So before we get the first snack, before we get the first meal, I want to take you to some of the most famous sites and probably the most popular spot in all of the Islamabad city. So it's about a 20-minute walk, but one thing I wanted to show you while we're on the way is just how organized and clean and just orderly and just different that Islamabad is from other cities in Pakistan. And the main reason for that is that because it's a planned city. So if you look at it from the map, you'll see it's like a very orderly grid. It's all lined out, and I have all this space. Look at it. Islamabad is a planned city, created during the 1960s when the capital of Pakistan was moved from Karachi in the far south. It was designed by Greek architect Konstantinos Doxiadia and is unabashedly laid out in a grid, unlike pretty much any other city in the country. Within these straight street lines are a lot of middle and upper class, not to mention students who are hungry and have the money for, of all things, meat. Lots and lots of meat. So I can just walk. There's all this space around me. The cars have space. They stay in their lanes. All that stuff you don't quite find as much in other Pakistani cities, which are very, very different in Islamabad. So you're coming to Islamabad for the first time for a trip to Pakistan. It's not exactly, I wouldn't say it's a false impression, but it's not what you get in the rest of the country. It is quite different here than it is in other parts of the country, but that's kind of what makes it unique, to me at least, is that it is just so different. It just stands out compared to the rest of the country. And one question I get a lot from Pakistanis who have seen the videos and commented are, hey, what did you think of Islamabad? With one eyebrow sort of pointed up. And I'm always like, I don't know, it's not what I expected. This is my second time here, and still, it's not what I expected on the first time. But it's not a bad city, and I feel like there's more to get to know here after a couple of trips, or maybe if you live here, there are a lot of things to find out and discover. So now that we have some time, I thought I'd answer the question, why are burgers so popular in Pakistan? There are many visuals of food you might conjure up when thinking of Pakistan, but I'm guessing the hamburger isn't one of them. But burgers, especially in the capital city Islamabad, are everywhere, and they are popular. It wasn't until 1981 that the first local Mr. Burger opened here. It's a Pakistani fast food chain, but before then there were no McDonald's. That came in 1998, Burger Kings or burger joints in general. Since then, things have changed, at least for Pakistan's middle and upper classes. And because the burger was a posh food, the people who ate them began to be called, with varying degrees of affection and disdain, burgers. Well, it turns out, from what I'm told, that up until about the 1980s, maybe 1981, basically there were no burgers being sold, like Western burgers being sold in Pakistan. There was something called the bun kebab, which is a local version of the hamburger, which I'll show you. But as far as hamburgers, as you know them maybe from the West, they didn't really exist. So the first chain opened up in those 80s, then the McDonald's and Burger Kings came, and that led to the rise of what's called the burger, or the burger uncle. Basically, because burgers at that time were expensive, they were things that affluent people ate. People who eat them began to get known as burgers. And it's kind of I'd say at best, a term for elite. So people who wear jeans and Western clothes and speak English, or maybe speak with a different kind of accent from what I'm told. And I think at worst, it probably means some kind of term for douchebag. And I'm wearing I've got jeans on, I'm speaking English, and a couple people had written in the comments, well, the first time I was here, saying, making fun of me, saying, hey, burger uncle. So you know what? Now I know what it is. Now I know what you guys are saying. Anyway, that gives you some background as to why the burgers are so popular, but now there are burger shops everywhere, everywhere. And they're all themed a little bit differently with a certain kind of slant, at least in Islamabad, that seem almost kind of out of place. Sitting at the foothills in the north part of Islamabad, the Faisal Mosque is a massive structure of 33 acres whose white minarets are unmistakable in this part of town. Funded by Saudi King Faisal and designed by Turkish architect Vedat Dalokay, it was the largest mosque in the world when it was completed in 1986 and now remains a respectable fifth. So behind me is the Faisal Mosque, which is probably the most popular tourist destination inside of Islamabad. So chances are, if you're looking at any of those websites that list all the things to do, this is probably going to be at the top of one of those lists. Unfortunately, inside you can't take any pictures or videos, and when I arrived it was closed, so I just got to see it from the windows on the outside to see the inside. The structure itself from the outside is really worth seeing. It's quite impressive, and if you like photos, there's so many good angles, there's so many great all kinds of angles and pictures of the Faisal Mosque. You also get a good view of the city, so you can see the road basically that I walked to get here. You can see that right from above, because you can get a pretty high angle going up onto the sides of the mosque through the stairs. If you're coming to Islamabad, this is definitely one of the places you should check out. But walking here and now walking back, I've worked up quite a hunger, getting a little bit hungry, so I think it's time for the first meal. So don't let the flag outside or the signs on the wall fool you. This is a very American, or at least Western themed burger place. It's called Jesse's, and it looks like you would find pretty much anywhere else in the world. These things are pretty standard in terms of burger joint. This is kind of it, sort of that upscale, hipstery vibe type of burger place where you can get a burger, you can get shakes. Even if you look at the menu, you can see all kinds of things. You have onion rings, you have mozzarella sticks. But right now, as you can tell, it's still pretty early. Still things haven't got started. I showed up at the opening time, it's about noon, and they weren't sure if they were open yet, and the streets are still just very slowly starting to get more active, but it's still pretty quiet. At noon, around lunchtime, not many people here. In fact, I'm the only person in the whole place. And I will note, since a lot of you have been asking me about COVID and what it's like here, at least all the waiters here have a pin that say I'm vaccinated, so that's a nice thing to see when you're out traveling and with the pandemic going around. So and all the staff here are masked, so that's something that's also nice to see. Obviously there's nobody in here and I'm super socially distanced, so taking my mask off, getting ready to eat. But as more people get in, once they're done eating, usually people pull their masks back up. I want to say the red spice is paprika maybe? So I think if this place is in the west, nothing special. But the fact that it's here is what makes it so weird and just stand out to me. It's actually not so weird because there's more than a few of these places in Islamabad and pretty much in Pakistan, in all the big cities. So that entire meal, something like that, is going to run about $5, but it's time for more food. So let's go on to the next place. This is Doka Mocha. Yes, another place that sells burgers, but they've also branched out into paninis, chicken kebabs, and these supreme fries. A heapy, greasy mess of deep fried potatoes topped with garlic sauce, mayonnaise, jalapenos, and olives. Lots of fries, lots of mayonnaise, spicy jalapenos, olives on top, garlic sauce. Then with the panini, you've got all kinds, like meat paninis, chicken paninis, turkey paninis as well, and vegetarian paninis as well with just vegetables. They did act quite surprised when I got the vegetable panini. They were surprised that they said, hey, there's no chicken in this. Like, are you sure you want that? I was like, yes. So these guys invited to eat with me. What are your names?
Afaq, Shayan.
So do you like Islamabad? I mean,
Yes.
compared to
Lahore, I love this city. But Lahore is is for the hosteliers, the people, the students.
Yeah.
It is quite adventurous, the city, and Lahore never sleeps.
So I also got a panini, as you are supposed to do here. Look at that. But this one has lettuce, pepper, onion, olive, and cottage cheese. And mayonnaise. A lot of mayonnaise. That's actually surprisingly good. It's really good. It's probably 1,000,000 calories, but it's really good. What's interesting to me is in Pakistan, there's a lot of burgers and there's a lot of paninis, a lot of French fries. Like a lot of Western food seems very popular here, especially in Islamabad.
The people here in Islamabad, they live a Western lifestyle.
This is good late night food, like student food, right? All of this stuff. Just heavy. I know they don't drink a lot of alcohol in Pakistan or any alcohol in Pakistan, but it's also good drunk food.
I was in college in Peshawar, so we eat a lot of food there. I was quite skinny, but then I went to Peshawar and in 2 years...
The students find the best food.
They know, exactly.
Not the healthiest food, but the best food.
But the best food. We, especially my friends, wherever we go, we order quite a lot of food and then we just bake it and we give it to like the people, poor people.
No, thank you. No, I'll pay for it. But thank you guys. I should pay for your food. I really appreciate it. But thank you very much. So those guys just bought me my lunch, which was really nice. They insisted that they pay, and they said in exchange, if you could, he's switching his degree from law. He's got a test coming up next week. Switches his degree from law, trying to go into medical, and he said, just wish me the best for my exam next week. So I think collectively we can all wish him the best on his exam next week. I think Doka Mocha, great, really good place to eat. It's junk food for sure, and it's like paninis and fries, and it's really heavy, but there's a lot to eat, and the bees and the flies are now attacking me. Seeing my attack by flies, the owner of Doka Mocha invited me in where we discussed, of all things, health foods in Islamabad. Spoiler alert, there aren't really any, but that might be changing.
So I'm also doing another brand for only health conscious audience.
Okay.
So with the name of Low Cal. So basically it has two meanings. It's low calorie and it's local.
Yeah.
So we are doing a range of sandwiches, salads, and about 12 flavors of juices.
Interesting,
because
there's not much of that in
No, not at all. Only I guess 3 or 4 establishments in Pakistan, especially in Lahore and Islamabad, are doing it.
But we might be getting some competition soon from some spinach. Whereas for now, not too much. Juice just came. This is beet juice?
No, this is beetroot and celery.
Beet and celery.
Beetroot, celery and apple.
Wow. And it's fresh, right?
This is pure, 100%, no sugar added, no preservative, no additives.
It's nice to have something fresh. I remember last time I was in Pakistan, it was hard to find fresh food, when you go out. Maybe at home it's easier, but wow, this is nice. That was just a great meal and a great experience meeting the owner, and I got lots and lots of food recommendations as well for the rest of my time in Islamabad and for beyond here as well. It was really great. In case you're wondering, that meal which they didn't let me pay for, so those 2 friends that I made right there just eating came up and said, hey, do you want to sit with us, insisting that they pay, and it came out to be about 1,000 rupees, which is about $5 or so. So that's about the cost for the supreme fries, a water, and then the panini with more fries. So there you go. So now I'm walking. I'm gonna get a little bit of rest before the next destination to try a very unique type of burger. And you can see the activity level at night has really picked up. It is nothing like it was before. Everybody is out. Alright, so I'm walking up to my last destination. It's a place called Howdy. It's kind of in this neighborhood. Doesn't even look like it belongs here. You can see it's just a bunch of houses, but I've been told that it should be right in front of me. And there it was, a very over-the-top Western theme. Like, Western theme, we're talking cowboys here, burger place. The waiters have cowboy hats. The menu items are all named after some Billy the Kid, Railroad, you know, those generic Western cliches. And of course, the very classy giddy up sign on the walls. All in all, this place doesn't seem like it belongs here, but at the same time, it kinda does. So hopefully this video gives you an idea of why the burger is so popular in Pakistan, especially in Islamabad, and why people go crazy for them. They are everywhere. You cannot throw a rock and not hit a hamburger place in this city, and this is another one of them. Very Western themed. In fact, so Western themed, it's actually a Western theme called Howdy. I mean, it's a little bit over the top. I didn't expect this. Waiters dressed as cowboys. All the menu items literally with some sort of cowboy related something, like the Wrangler and the rodeo and all kind of stuff. And I came here for their prawn burger because that's a burger that I had never heard of, that probably not a lot of people know about, but unfortunately they don't have it. So I'm just gonna eat a little bit, just show you some burgers, but mainly have some fries because I've been eating all day and I'm totally stuffed. So burgers are the fashionable food to eat. That's basically what it comes down to, I think. It's basically the fashionable thing to eat, and when you go out in this city, that's the thing most people choose to eat. And there are a lot of beef burgers and a lot of chicken burgers are just as popular. And as you saw earlier, there is a small, like, maybe attempt at making health food, something a little bit different to give a little bit of variety, something that's going to maybe change up the food scene here, but it is very, very meat heavy, very potato heavy, very sauce heavy, almost oddly German, I'd say, almost oddly German. So hopefully this video has helped you see why the burger is so popular here and given you an idea of what it's like to be in Islamabad with this sort of short mini tour of the city. Let me know if you have any questions or comments down in the comments below, and while you're down there, hit the like and subscribe buttons. I'll have new videos for you every week, and I'll see you in the next video. And then you have this really nice park, just people strolling around after their meal or maybe before. But I think if there's one thing that really comes across, or that probably is obvious by now, is that these burgers or these kind of places are places that not everybody can afford to eat here. Even though the prices, I guess compared in dollars, are not very expensive, for a lot of people this is totally out of reach and they wouldn't be able to eat at a place like this. So maybe for some of you, you might be thinking like burgers, it's just a, you know, it's just a regular sandwich or it's fast food. And to an extent that's the case here. It is just fast food, but it's not in the reach of everybody, and I think that's what gives the burger culture sort of its identifying factor, is that this is for people who are pretty well off as compared to everybody else. I want to say the red spice is paprika, maybe? Oh yeah. My lips are slightly on fire. In a good way. It's probably nothing so burger as to speaking English to a camera, dressed the way I'm dressed, all alone in a restaurant, talking to myself. Classic.